Hi guys, it's Miss Miniature here. Welcome back to my channel. Today we have another speed build, one that I am particularly excited about because this is the Physical Kids Cottage from the show The Magicians. Now, if you don't watch the show, that's fine. I am going to discuss it a little bit, but I'm not going to give away any main plot points. I definitely don't want to spoil it for anyone, so I'm just going to be talking like as in a general discussion. No spoilers, I promise. So first off, I'm going to be the first to say that this is not an exact replica of the Physical Kids Cottage. This is my interpretation, a bit from the books, a bit from the movies, and then just things that I felt would look really good or really cool and improve this. And it's my own personal spin to the cottage. And I had so much fun building it because, I always build with a sim in mind or a sim already created, and then I kind of base the build off their need or their personality. But with this, I already knew the characters so more in depth than I would ever really know a sim, unless I base that sim off someone I knew, but I haven't done that. So this build, I knew the characters from the show and from the books, so I got to add in the things that I thought they would really like, and then you add things that you know are in there from the show from seeing it. So it was a lot of fun. It was one of my more detailed builds. I used a lot of the debug items, and I really loved how it turned out. It's a build that I am really proud of. I'm really impressed with myself, and I had so much fun. I definitely lost track of time while I was building. I started building this Sunday night into early Monday morning, and I didn't even realize how much time had gone by until I finally looked at the clock, and it was well into the morning. And I thought, oh man, I did not even realize how much time had gone by. I was just so focused on what I was doing, and I kind of love that, being wrapped up in a build, or really being wrapped up in anything that much that you lose track of time. Sometimes it sucks for the next day or later that day, but it was worth it. It was so much fun building this. So you're probably wondering why I'm placing so many trees. Well, maybe not. It's a cottage, so I guess the assumption it would be in the woods. But let me tell you a little bit of the show before I explain why I'm placing all the trees. So, The Magicians is a show about a magical school and the people who attend. Now, it does have that similarity with Harry Potter, but that's where the similarities stop. They're both magical schools, but I would say that is the only similarity the two things have. And I love both. Definitely love both. But I don't think they're very similar. So anyway, this show follows Quentin, Alice, Elliot, Margot, Penny, Juliet, and I guess you could count Katie as a semi-main character as well. So it follows them and their journey through the magical school and then dealing with the rest of the world. So if you're looking for a happy little show that you can sit and watch and relax and not really think, this is not the show that you're looking for. This show is I find it quite witty and comical in unexpected places, but it can get a little dark. And when I say it can, I mean it does. And when I say a little, I mean it gets really dark and really fast. I find the first couple episodes, when I first started watching, I watched episodes 1 and 2, and I remember thinking, it was an okay show, was what I thought. And I kept watching, because, what else am I doing on Monday night? Also, who gives a new show a Monday night slot? That's almost setting it up for failure, but thankfully it didn't. Everything on Monday is usually awful, except for this show, which is now on Thursdays on season 2. Anyway, so I remember thinking, it's an okay show. And I did stick with it, and I remember then episode 4 came. and the beginning was a really unexpected dark twist, and I was like, huh, okay. And then the next episode got a little bit darker, and so on and so forth, until you're sitting on the couch and you're like, oh yeah, they went there, did they? And it's not a bad thing at all. I loved the unpredictableness of it. It wasn't shying away from the controversial topics. So it is dark. It's not a happy little show that you'd watch to sit there and just be entertained. It does make you think a little bit. It makes you feel, so just be warned if you weren't looking for that this show is a little bit more of the dark and dry humor kind. Which, like I said, I really love the show, but I could understand why it wouldn't be for everyone, which is totally okay. And if you don't like the show, that's fine. You can still enjoy the build, or you can change and go watch a different YouTube video. It's okay. I understand. No worries. So now, back to why I'm placing so many trees around the house. Obviously, I want it to look like a wooded area, but the unique thing about the physical kids cottage is that it moves around between the school years. So you have to find your new home once they tell you where you're going to be living. Then you have to find it, and then you have to figure a way to magically break down the door or magically get into the house. I guess you don't have to break down the door. That would just seem the easiest way, I guess. So yeah, you get thrown into this new school, and then you gotta find your home that could possibly move. I mean, I don't think it moves like during the school year. I just think from school year to school year it moves. But I am a little off on that part. It wasn't a huge part of the story, so I can't remember which it was. But I'm pretty sure it just moves between the school years. Not that it really matters. Anyway. So I hope everyone had a good Easter. I had my Easter dinner on Monday because my parents were away until late Sunday, and then it was too late to cook dinner when they got home, so we just waited until Monday, and after work we had a little Easter dinner together, which was really nice. It was, simple. It wasn't a huge meal or anything, but it's just nice to be able to sit down with family and spend time together. And yeah, that has absolutely nothing to do with this build, but I just wanted to wish everyone happy Easter and hope you all had a really great time. Yeah. So we are moving on into the interior of the home, and like I said, not an exact replica. So if you want to point out differences, that would actually be fun, because I had a really hard time finding any pictures of the inside of this home when I was on Pinterest and Google. I mean, I could have rewatched some episodes from the first season and paused it to look at their rooms, but I'm pretty sure Margot's room is never shown, and Elliot's room is only shown very briefly in a couple scenes. Most of the time, the scenes that are shown from the rooms are in Quentin's room or in Alice's room. So Alice's room, I'm pretty sure I got almost spot on, and Quentin's room was too plain, I felt, in the show, so I added some extra things. But as for Elliot and Margot, their room pictures were like nothing. I couldn't find anything on Pinterest or Google, and I felt like such a failure because I was like looking through for so long and I couldn't find anything. I remember thinking there has to be something. But I could find a couple of the living room, couldn't find any of the kitchen. It was just, it was a big fail, which is when I mainly decided that I wasn't going to do an exact replica. Which I'm glad it worked out that way, because, I mean, if I had found pictures online, I probably would have followed them to a T and made them very close, if not exactly the same. And I wouldn't have been able to put the creative spin on it or my creative flow into it that I wanted. So I'm really glad that I couldn't find any pictures and that I failed in that way. See, there is always a silver lining. I couldn't find any pictures, so I put my own spin on it, and I probably like it better. Yeah, so, try. So I don't want to talk about the characters themselves a whole lot because I did do a create-a-sim for Alice, Elliot, Margot, and Quentin, and if I talk about them now, then I probably won't have anything to talk about during the create-a-sim, and that just, that would suck, because I could probably talk about their characters for not a long time, but at least 10 minutes, so I don't want to take that away from that. So I'm not going to talk about the characters too much, just that I did create them and that they live in this house, and now you already know their names. So, I guess Juliet, Penny, and Katie don't live in this house, but Elliot, Margot, Quentin, and Alice do. So their rooms are in this house. Now, in the show, there's obviously more rooms in the house and more people living here, but they don't matter, so yeah, oh well. No room for them. Even though, it's a cottage in the woods, and I know it's magical and everything, but I was looking at exterior pictures, and there is no way that house fit as many rooms as they said it did, or as it showed it did. Just saying. Also, I do want to apologize. This is later than usual. I guess usually I put out my speed builds on Wednesday, as I told you my process in the last one, even though that one was late as well. But this week on Tuesday, I just had such a bad day at work that I really just didn't want to do a recording. I sat down and I tried, and my voice was just monotone, and I wasn't excited, and I mean, yes, I should be able to bounce back from a bad day at work, but I just wasn't feeling it, so I honestly just opened up an old save that I have that I'm not recording. It's just my fun not recording sim. She does crazy, not crazy things, I mean, she's just, she has some really bad drama, a lot of enemies now, and she's just not doing very well in life. She's been married and divorced twice. She got married and divorced on the same day once. Yeah, she's just drama, but she's the character I play with when I'm having a particularly bad day, and I just want to, not do anything that matters. So instead of doing the screenshots and the recording, which is normally what I do, I was playing her storyline, and she did not fare out well. But I mean, I felt a whole lot better afterwards. Sometimes you just need that little bit of decompression where you're doing something that just, it doesn't matter. You can just relax and be yourself. So, yeah. I mean, I guess not myself, but play this virtual life that I'm ruining. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta ruin a virtual life. Not a real life. You don't want to ruin anyone's life, but virtual lives, they're okay. So today I'm having a much better day, and I'm definitely more peppy and more enthusiastic, so here I am doing this voiceover for your listening delight. So I am going to talk about the build a little bit now, because I've rambled about many topics and not very much about the build itself. So anyway, you'll see here, I have a lot of the bookcases placed, but I go back and I change that because when I did take a second look, or I guess when I was searching through all the pictures, I just glanced at the one for the living room and was like, oh yeah, I know that room, I've seen it a bunch of times, and at first I thought they were all bookcases in that room. They're not. They're all shelves with liquor on them. And I realized that because when I was building, I was like, this is more of a party school. I have a couple bars, but I mean, I don't have any of the liquor bottles. Where would they go? I know this school party, or this cottage parties all the time. And then when I looked at the reference photo again, I was like, oh, those aren't bookcases. Those are bottles. So I went back and changed took out some of the bookcases and put a bunch of the bottles up there. And then I got rid of that little closet area I had for the shoes because I just thought it was kind of pointless. And I do place some items here. If anyone watches the show, you'll understand why I placed some of the items that I did. And I'm not going to say why, but it's kind of like a little, I don't know, shout out to the people that do watch. Maybe you'll notice why I place. But I don't want to say, because some of it could ruin plot, and I don't want to risk that. Because, like I said, I would really hate to ruin the show for anyone or give any detail away. Because I find it's a very unpredictable show. So to even give a small thing away and then you're kind of like looking and expecting for it. Anyway, point of that is I don't want to give anything away. And back to the build I go, because I'm going to try to talk about it and stay on topic for at least 2 minutes maybe. So yeah, and I use the globe bars not because of any other reason other than they fit in smaller places, and I really didn't want to put the regular bar in. I mean, they do the same thing, but I find the regular bar is just too large and takes up too much space, where the globe you can just kind of shove in the corner and you don't have to worry about it. Also, I do change the middle floor layout a little bit, just because on one side where I do the rooms you couldn't fit the queen or double bed in there, so I had to definitely change it because they're all gonna need double beds. Also, you may have noticed when I was doing the landscaping, I added a couple of the multi-purpose bushes, the ones you can nap in, fertilize, and woohoo in. And yeah, I added them because you can woohoo in them, and it is like a big party house, so that's why I added those. I don't know, I thought I'd just say that. If you're kind of wondering why I put those bushes there, if you thought it was for aesthetic reasons, it's not. It's also the same reason I added a closet to this build. I just wanted there to be as many opportunities as possible, so that's why I added the bush, the closet, and of course a double bed in every room. So, yeah, it is a little overboard, but again, like it's a magical party cottage, so yeah, I added those extra things in. Now, I'm not going to tell you whose room I'm building. If you want to guess, that would be great. And then I am going to tell you at the end, but I'm not going to describe whose room it is I'm building until we go through the screenshots and it'll say whose room that is. Which I guess will only be fun for the other people who watch the show. But you never know, you may start watching this show. Maybe because I suggested it, or maybe because you've wanted to watch it. Who knows? And you might see why I placed some of the items that I did in their rooms. So I just thought of a quote that would better explain why the show is dark, I guess. It is from the show. Elliot says it, and he says, "Magic isn't about talent, it's about pain." And I would say that the show kind of stays true to that quote and kind of gives more of an explanation as to why it's darker, because they're definitely not shying away from the controversial topics. Could pronounce that word. I did have to do that take a couple times. I kept getting tongue-tied and it was very frustrating. And I didn't want to have to sit there trying to pronounce it multiple times on audio. Instead, I wanted to ramble about how I could not say it and try to fill up some more time. Anyway, actually, this is getting a lot easier. I mean, I didn't stop the recording for the first 5 minutes, and then I kind of took a breath because I find I talk really fast and I almost forget to breathe, or to forget to breathe deeply anyway. So, you know, every 5 minutes I like to stop and breathe. But the recording itself, I find, is getting a lot easier. I'm not as nervous. I'm not doing as many takes, which is great, because this is my biggest struggle, is talking. Like, in person, I'm very shy. I'm very kind of, you know, closed off and just I'm definitely an introvert. So this is kind of an opportunity for me to get out of my shell and, I guess talk to myself, but I'm still getting out there and communicating with people. I really love being a part of this community. It is so great. And I have a couple people that have commented on a couple of my videos, and it means the world to me. Like, I get the email notifications, and I get so excited. So, I just, thank you. It really does mean the world to me. Like, you may think you're just saying, oh, that's a cute build, but the encouragement, it just feels great to share something that other people are also enjoying. And I just really like being a part of this community, and I love watching other people's builds. There are some people that do such amazing builds or tell such great stories, and it's just really great to be a part of that in a way. So anyway, like I said, I'm going to try to talk about the build, even though now we're almost done. We're reaching the ending. So first, I do have to change a couple things when I was playtesting. Just a couple of where things are. It's nothing huge, so don't worry about that. If you see me building it and you happen to download this lot and you're like, that wasn't there, I just had to move a couple things around. And I know in the Magician's Cottage there definitely is no computer or TV, but this room, I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it. I was gonna make like one small bedroom for an insignificant person, but I was like, no, I want them to be able to have like some fun if they're actually using this home. So I did add it in there. And if you wanted to use this house and you weren't gonna model it after the show, which is totally fine, but you could easily make that computer room a toddler room or a teen room, and you could just change all the rooms into like one master and then the rest kids' rooms. And I would assume you would take all the liquor bottles or juice bottles off the walls. But you never know. They could stay there for decoration. There's no interaction. Children can't reach them. It's fine. So on that note, this is the last bedroom. This one isn't as detailed as the others, but that's because when I looked at it, it didn't seem to have a whole lot of objects that this character kind of liked to live minimally, so that's why I did that. Now, in a minute, I am going to change the dining room to make it look a little bit more formal, just that sitting area, and just because it's a magical party college cottage doesn't mean that it doesn't look formal, so I wanted to kind of stay true to that and make that area where you could sit and have like a formal drink with your friends and chill and have like the magical in-depth conversations. Anyway, we are almost to the end. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Bye!